What's going on, YouTube? It's Brandon here, your favorite cancer patient. Let's get into a little recap here through Boilerroom Trading. So, besides our official site launch, we've been doing some awesome stuff with that, and everything's been going really smooth with the soft launch. Appreciate everybody for signing up, joining us this morning, and dealing with us as we handle the site integration. So, with that being said, let's take a peek at the old X in Twitter. Been working on a lot of stuff, so I've been posting too much on here on the freebies, but we had a sneaky little gap here on ES this morning that we posted about. We had it down here, 5,269. So we expected more of a pop to drop to reverse long. That's what we said in the premium chat as well. So let's take a peek at it. So as the gap persisted, it actually did not fill today, which again, we get these once in a while. All gaps fill eventually. You don't have to fill same day. This was not a multi-cluster gap. This was not a multi-ticker gap. This was just a single ES little algo gap there. If there was multiple gaps down here, they would have filled same day. If it was a little different to the setup, we'll have to see. If anybody did notice today, TOS and some others did have some data outage pieces right here. I didn't really count that as a gap. So this is the only gap that I wanted to see. And before I left my premium chat, I told everybody to watch the pop to drops, get the short, stay short down to the gap fill. And as I always say, it's always better to get out early than be caught on any reversal. And today is a prime example of that. 5,269 is the 1 minute gap, and it came within, obviously, half ticks of fill, right? So you can see right there, we actually didn't get the fill, so we're going to keep that unfilled gap open, but we did get the short all the way down to the gap. So we had a pretty stellar day for that. As far as PNLs go, I think we ended the day somewhere around, see, 57, 37, 50 on a live account, 3,116 on the PAs. So still locking in a pretty nice chunk between the big accounts and the PA accounts through Apex Trading. So let's get into some of the reasons why we look. Now, we knew it was going to be kind of a chop to long day, and that's what we were looking for. I wanted to see downside first and then squeeze up a later in the day because, well, that's been the pattern, right? Let's take a peek here. We're going to go drop to the 1 minute real fast because I want to see some of these chops and talk about them, because we had some chop here where when you see price action not corresponding well with any of the moving averages, you see really heavy candles, like we have data pops here, and we have some unnatural squeezes that just kept happening. Every time it went for like a low break, lower high setup, it would get squeezed out, low break, lower high setup, squeezed back up. So we didn't have any kind of clean downtrend, even on the intraday chart there. And you can kind of notice that we had bearish metrics on the 5 minute. So if we go over to that 5 minute chart where the 1 minute was not getting anything respected as far as moving averages go, 5 minute was iffy, not the cleanest. But you see this orange zone right here, we had talked about on the premium chat, we were going to either trend above 527 for the pickup long to continue, or we were going to take it short back down under the orange zone. So between 526 and 527, those were the two zones I had wanted to see. Now, the main one over under was 526, and overall macro, we were expecting long after the short. So when did the short come on? So if you see the short right here, look at the diverging factors here. Lower high push on price action. We do have lower high, lower low cracks on the RSI. We had a couple different low breaks right here and right here. So we were assuming that downside was coming. We had a decent little interaction on the cross waves right here, and then busted for a full snap down like we needed to. Now, again, like we showed you, we did not fill that gap. We were within ticks, which is fine. We're just going to leave that one on, and we'll come back to it, because if you were paying attention to that short, you always get out early. Always. You don't wait for an exact fill. Nothing, none of that exists. Nothing you should be doing is waiting for an exact fill. So in the premium chat, I did go through some plays, and I said, well, the engulfing candle that we have at all-time highs does not have any viable price action on the right side of the Fibonacci box, right? And what I like to do here is I grab a Fibonacci high-low, and I used the body of the all-time high. This is the big engulfing that we use. So here's our Fibonacci box. We have our golden pocket, obviously, right here. And that's why we used 527 as a very big support. Same with 526, because that's the bottom of the candle. So the 100 fib right here is 526. So if price action enters the bottom of this engulfing candle, we have an opportunity to do what? Retrace back to the golden pocket and all the way up here to a potential test of lower high territory and double top territory before anything else goes. And that is because on this Fibonacci sequence on the top of this red candle on the top channel, we have no price action. There is no price action here on the top of this Fibonacci range. Why do we know that could come back up once we get inside the body? Well, it's Fibonacci metrics. These things have personalities. So as we had it engulfing, I said long for these 2 days, the golden pocket, which is right here, becomes a massive over under. So we longed it to there and then expected downside, right? Came outside of the range, 1618, usually our first target. If the 1618 starts to hold, we travel back to the 100, right? And if we get inside the 100, which was today's outlook, anything above 526 is inside the body and it is above the 100 fib. This is the 100%. So if we get back inside the fib box range, we will go back to the golden pocket, generally consolidate for a little bit and roll back to the top side again, where there is no price action. So this price action has an opportunity to fill. One of the other play style things that I like to utilize here is this dash blue line. This is a 10 SMA. We call it the 9 SMA loop, 10 SMA loop, whatever moving average is about the same. But the price action will loop this, right? So you see it crack through the 10, it'll false to the downside, end up hitting some fibs like so, and it will loop back up and can cause cup handle patterns like this to come back up to test resistance points, because nothing goes in a straight line unless we have massive catalysts for it, right? We're looking for the 10 SMA loop and swoop back up to this area and then trend direction with some of the data we have coming later in the week. So we looped that 10 SMA. We pushed up for a couple days now. We've seen some really big force up candles here as we were generating momentum, but all of which were generating still higher lows with the flat top from this squeeze day. So if we have a low right here, we have a higher low from yesterday and a higher low today. So we are still on track to be utilizing those fibs. And in the last video, we said we'd come back down from these fibs, completed the 2618, back to golden pocket of the pre-market right here, algo, came back down again today in the pre-wash, right, in pre-market, back up, held the 100% fib, which is 526. That's the big red candle on the daily. And I said, that's our big over under point. If we snap down underneath that for a little bit and go to the intraday gap, I said, go back long right away. It did not fill, missed it by some ticks, but it went back long right away. And our thesis was 100% correct. We just had to wait for that breakdown. So we broke down, didn't fill the gap within ticks. You know, I'm still going to give it price action accordance, because for the 100 fib, as long as we were over this, we were doing good. And we had a big 3 to the downside here. We were still engulfed in buyers by this time right here. So in the 5-minute chart, we did take over buyers right at the base of the day, squeezed up, and we kept buyer control all the way to here. So this was the end of the buyer control. We started to see sellers complete a candle here, and that was a harsh sell right back down. And as we usually like to see confirmation of moving averages and such on force ups, we did get a little bit there. So back to the view app and back to the natural. So our progressive prediction here, we'll go to a 30-minute chart so you can see it a little easier. Remember, this is the green box of the huge engulfing candle. So moving into tomorrow, here's that fib box. That's the body of the all-time high candle. We also will stay inside as long as we're up above 526. We're going to move to the golden pocket. This area right here in the golden pocket is in between that 528.60s to 530.30. Okay. So if this golden pocket becomes support on the next day's push on data, this is where we want to be. We want to be somewhere in that 532 to 533 range for that 10 SMA loop on the daily. And this is where we're going to find correctional direction. So we were dip buy biased yesterday off the fib. Today, higher low pushed along. Tomorrow, continuation long. As long as we get up to 532, 533 area, we are still on track for prediction. Okay. So these were some pretty basic Fibonacci's that we utilized today. One of the other pieces of the pie that we had used today was the volatility index. This helped out a little bit because I was saying they were going to potentially come back down and fill some of the double gap opens. And what I meant by that is the overnight gap here, overnight gap here. Price action came down into here, did not fill, right? Again, for that gap, see it? Not filled. Presses back up, creates another gap. And I said it'll most likely come back down and start filling these two gaps before we head up, okay? And what happened? We created the lower high we needed, okay, in price action. This got stuck under that 666, came back down and filled the first gap pretty much right there at yesterday's close. Now, for continuation, we need the VIX to come back down for this guy. So VIX down to that sub 13 level is what we look for next. That was a big part of our breakdown here this morning. So we did all this live again here in the premium. We did launch the new website. We're still trading with Apex. Our description has all the links if you want to trade with us. And follow us over on X. We do well there and post some free plays from now from time and time again. So quick little recap for the day. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll catch you back tomorrow.